Hello everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you this amazing set by Mattel that was released on the 16th of April here in the UK and worldwide in theory. This is the Owen Escape Pack from Jurassic World Dominion, and I was absolutely shocked when this was listed up on the Smith's Toy Shop website, because here in the UK we don't really get any sets at all. We just get kind of like the basic releases like attack packs and the general like T-Rexes, and sometimes we get some Legacy Collection stuff. Like we didn't get any humans from the first wave of Legacy Collection, but this time round it seems like we're getting a little bit more, and I'm all up for it. And this set looks absolutely amazing. This is something that we haven't really seen before, released worldwide. It's a set with 3 dinosaurs, a vehicle, and a human figure with accessories. Because this is a Jurassic World Dominion inspired product, you can see there is the classic T-Rex from Jurassic Park on the left side of the packaging, the Jurassic World Dominion logo on the bottom left, obviously the title of what the product is in the bottom middle, and a lovely window showing all the contents of the set. It's the same type of design that we saw on the Ferocious Pack Velociraptor Blue, with the Rex being chased by some vehicles, to keep the design of the packaging consistent throughout the line. What differs though is the center part of the packaging, because it's a set and it's supposed to be a particular scene from the film. It has a bit more of a Mediterranean look in the background of the inside of the packaging. We'll have a look at that closely later. But on the rest of the box, we've got Jurassic World Dominion logos scattered everywhere. A Pyroraptor on the other side of the box, which seems to be quite common with every kind of Jurassic World Dominion box. There's always a Pyroraptor on one of the sides. And then we get pictures of all the contents of the set on the back of the box. So this set includes 2 Atrociraptors, a Carnotaurus, Owen, a red motorbike, a helmet, and a knife. The Atrociraptors in this pack are Atrociraptor Red and Atrociraptor Panthera. I think that's how you pronounce it. Also, is it Atrociraptor or Atrociraptor? I'll probably flip-flop between using those two. Now, this is interesting because the Carnotaurus in the trailer is an adult, but because of the size of this particular figure, it looks more like a juvenile. I don't think it's meant to be a juvenile. Obviously, this is just speculation, but it does look like the one in the trailer is an adult. But I quite like that Mattel is offering different sizes now, so we can actually add juvenile-like figures to our collection. It's not like we haven't had Carnotauruses released before, full size, so I think this is a good idea. The backing of this packaging has a beach and it looks beautiful. As you can see, the sand there is being kicked up by some invisible dinosaurs. But this design is amazing. It's so weird seeing Malta in the trailer because it looks so much like my home in Italy. Malta and my parts of Italy share very similar architecture, and there's a beach too. It's just so strange for me to see dinosaurs in a place that looks like my home, and I love it. Anyway, let's start by looking at the Owen figure. It is a 3 3/4 inch scale human figure, which scales up very nicely with all the other dinosaurs released by Mattel. It is a faithful recreation or depiction of Owen's appearance. He has amazing articulation, as you can see right now. His head is on a ball joint. His shoulders are articulated, they go out and in and all about. The elbows are articulated, as well as the hips, the torso, and the knees, which is exactly the same amount of articulation as all the previous human figures released before this one. This Owen figure actually has a different sculpt from the previous releases, as the trousers here are a lot more textured, which is a very nice touch. Textured all the way around with nice realistic looking folds in the fabric. He also has pegs under the feet, so you can position him onto a stand if you want, or on vehicles that have pegs. His knife slots in the back like this, which is an improvement over the last Owen, where the knife and the sheath were just one piece with a peg that would insert into a hole on his bum hole, and he has a helmet. It doesn't have much paint-wise, it's literally just cast in a black material, a nice flexible and rubbery one that slides on like so. It's designed really well because it doesn't really hinder any kind of articulation of the head. I I think it looks like a really good helmet design, and it's really snug. It won't fall off. Actually, it's quite tough to remove, but it won't damage the figure at all. It doesn't chip away the paint on the face, and the fact that it's soft and rubbery really helps. Now let's compare this new Owen with the older one. As you can see, the hair is quite darker. Previously, Owen looked like he had red hair, which is really odd now that I think about it. And this new hair color suits him much better, and it's a lot more accurate to what we see in the film. So it shares the same exact sculpt in some places. So the arms are different because the old one has got a watch. The sleeves are the exact same sculpt. The head is the same. The legs are the same sculpt, but with a better texture. The shirt has actually got a different sculpt. It's got different wrinkles and folds in the material in the front, but the back is the same, which is quite odd in my opinion. Why would they go to the extent of sculpting a new front but not a new back? Anyway, that's just a weird decision that as a toy maker doesn't really make much sense, but never mind. It's not a problem at all. It looks much better actually. The older Owen has a bum hole there, and the newer one just has the sheath of the knife. Now let's take a look at the bike. It's red with black parts and grey detailing on it. It generally feels quite cheap, but it's okay because it's in a set. It could be much worse, but the fact that the grey part in the middle of the wheels is just one solid piece with sculpted parts on it looks a bit cheap, but it does the job. The overall sculpt looks pretty realistic. The proportions look great. I'm not sure how accurate it is to the film because we haven't seen it yet. The wheels are actually made of a softer plastic. It's actually really hard rubber, but the fact that it isn't hard plastic really helps. The wheels spin perfectly, and it's also got a kickstand so you can stand the bike without it falling over. It's not amazing, but for what it is, it's actually fine. It works well, looks decent, and it's perfectly in scale with Owen, and it stands lovely. Not only it's capable of standing by itself, but also when a figure is riding it too. So that kickstand works really well because it supports the weight of both the bike and the figure. Personally, I prefer this motorbike right here, which was in the Battle Damage set with the brown baryonyx, I believe. The bike feels a bit less cheap. The inside of the wheels are actually sculpted really well. It's actually got holes and it's not just one round piece of plastic. Although it's not completely accurate to what we see in the film, it does a really good job. It has the same kind of really tough rubber on the wheels, which is a nice touch again. It's got a plastic part there for the light instead of it just being painted, which looks a lot more realistic because it's translucent plastic. And it also has a space there for Owen's gun. That part there isn't actually present on the bike that is in the film, but it's added to give the toy a bit more sturdiness and an actual space for the gun, which is very nice. These two bikes are in the exact same scale. Now let's put Owen on the bike and see what he looks like. Oh, it rhymes. It always helps positioning him first before putting him on the bike. Bend his limbs in the correct position before you put him on the bike, and then slide his fingers onto the handlebars. The wheels spin really well, and there's no issues with that. As I said before, he stands. Let's take a look at the Atrociraptors. They've got the same articulation as all the other Attack Pack / Ferocious Pack figures. All of its limbs move backwards and forwards. They don't move in and out like the more expensive ones. Its tail swivels if you really want it to, and I actually really like this toy. Just the fact that we're getting neck articulation of raptors is so exciting for me. The sculpt seems to be really accurate to what we see in the film. There is one detail on the bottom jaw which that Mattel doesn't seem to have noticed on the design, but we'll get into that later. The proportions look really good compared to the other sort of velociraptors that Mattel makes. There's tons of details and muscle definition on the figure, and the skin texturing is superb, packed with tiny little scales. The feet aren't ginormous and it still stands. Why? Because it's got a longer tail than the previous velociraptor that we reviewed, which improves its balance overall. As you can see, I'm giving him some serious whiplash to demonstrate the range of the articulation of the neck. Instead of casting the tail orange, they instead cast it with the same belly color. but added orange stripes on top. So it looks like the belly color continues on the underside of the tail. And here is the scan code. It's also got some sort of spring action there, so it doesn't break, which is a very, very nice touch. Because I could see that ripping off quite easily if it didn't have some sort of elasticity. Man, I just can't get over that neck articulation. Look at that. Just looks like he's confused. Now let's talk about that detail on the jaw that I mentioned earlier. Now, they aren't the only ones that sculpted the Atrociraptors, because I sculpted one too. This is my Rubbersaur's version of it. And as you can see, I added the detail there, which is like a big scale on the side of the jaw. But not just that, it's also got like a little goatee going on the front of the bottom jaw. Mattel seems to have added that goatee kind of thing, but it's so subtle it's almost invisible. The one that I sculpted is meant to be tiger, but the one that Mattel released is red. As you can see, mine's a bit bigger actually. I didn't know what size they were in the film, so I'd made them the same size as the raptors, if not a tiny bit bigger. This one is Panthera, I believe is pronounced. It's very, very nice. I love the colors of this one. I believe this is a bit too yellow compared to what we see in the film or trailer, but I honestly really like this color anyway. The pose is quite weird. I know that a lot of fans weren't very happy with the crouching raptor sculpt, which this one seems to have kind of brought back. I can see why, because there's only kind of one pose it can be for it to make sense, but it's still got that neck articulation that I love. Talking about articulation, it's the same exact articulation as the previous one. Aside from the claws not being painted, they both look really good actually. They've added more paint where they don't usually add it, like on the tail. I absolutely love that brown stripe that starts on the neck, but look, it continues on the tail. But it's not just one paint app on the tail, there's also the belly color right on the tip of the tail. That's amazing. That's the belly color right there. There is a little bit of a gap between the belly and the tail, but honestly, that makes such a difference having the paint go all the way down the tail, but it's also on the tip of it. I just can't get over it. It looks really good. Before I talk about the arms, I'm going to show you the scan code. And here is the scan code. I have seen some comments about people being a bit annoyed about the arm colors, which is a bit jarring. They don't really seem to mesh really well with the rest of the sculpt. It does add some extra color variation, I guess, which is good. But it reminds me a bit of the Allosaurus that they released, the green one with the white arms. It just looks a bit weird. As I haven't gotten my hands on Ghost yet, this is my Rubbersaur's version. Hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on the set with Ghost. Now this is the Carnotaurus, which I quite like, to be honest. It's got like a greeny grey, dark grey brown. I honestly have no idea what color it is. With orange patterns, a white jaw, but having a figure of a Carnotaurus this size with this articulation, oh, it's just so nice. It has the same type of articulation as the previous figures from this set, but this Carnotaurus's legs also pop out and in, as well as the arms. So the articulation kind of makes up for the lack of paint. Unfortunately, my figures from this set, the eyes aren't placed very precisely. I'm kind of tempted to rub off the eye color on this one and paint my own on. I'll probably do a video where I customize the paint apps on some of Mattel's figures. I'll see what I'll do. Here's the scan code, which is a bit crooked on mine, and that's pretty much it for this set. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and goodbye.
I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreons.
Seriously guys, your support really does mean the world to me, as it helps me do what I love for you. You help me buy materials, and most of all, you give me a helping hand with improving the quality of the content of my videos. Even if it's just a small donation, every little helps. If you like my videos, please press the like button. And you could consider subscribing. It's free. Oh, and don't forget to press the notification bell button, because you don't want to miss any of my new stuff, right? I'm gonna say bye now, because when you gotta go, you gotta go. I will see you in the next one.